Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. Today we have a full review of Intel's 11th gen CPU, the 11900K is great at storage, AMD reveals the 6700 XT, terrible news, and why would you do this Intel? Okay, it's news time, and first up for today, we have one of the first reviews of Intel's 11th gen CPU. And this time, it's of a qualification sample, which means we're looking at very close to even the same performance of a retail part. Either way, the review was done by OddTech Reviews, and it's of the 11700 non-K part. And they compare it to AMD's 5800X and last gen's 10700. So yeah, let's get right to the performance. When it comes to professional workloads, the 11700 eases out the 5800X and CPU-Z, but loses in multi-core performance in Cinebench and Geekbench 5. Luckily, the 11700 does ease out some single-core wins and is clearly better than last gen's model in all but L3 cache. Moving on to gaming benchmarks, you can see the 11700 beats out the 5800X and 3D Mark's Time Spy CPU score. The issue is that the 3 games they showed were mostly won by the 5800X, though the 11700 did much better than last gen. All in all, this is an okay upgrade. The issue is the 2 fewer cores than last gen. Still, keep in mind that this is the non-K model, which should already be quite a bit less than the 5800X. Basically, if AMD doesn't lower the pricing on their 5000 series, 11th gen could still be a win for Intel. Of course, with all this new hardware coming out, it can get tough to know what to buy. That's why I offer my PC hardware suggestions at kit.co/gamermeld. In it, I go over why you may want to buy one thing over another, from GPUs to CPUs and more, as well as provide tips when buying certain components. I also just added some Intel motherboard suggestions for 11th gen. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment and I'll try to reply as soon as I can. Plus, when you make a purchase, it helps the channel out at no additional cost to you. So don't wait and visit kit.co/gamermeld or click the link in the description below. And staying on the topic of 11th gen, Intel's own Ryan Shrout shared a new benchmark of the upcoming 11900K. As you can see, it's comparing PCI Express Gen 4's storage performance. Okay, well according to him, the 11900K beats the 5950X by 11% while using a 1TB Samsung 980 Pro. Personally, I'd say there's likely a ton of factors involved here, but I guess Intel's PCI Express is slightly faster? They also originally showed an ROG Rampage 8 before changing it to the Crosshair 8. Seems like a serious goof. Either way, I guess that 11% would be good for some, but it really just feels like they're stretching. Next up, AMD officially unveiled the announcement date of their upcoming RX 6000 GPUs. In the announcement, AMD revealed that their third Where Gaming Begins event is set for March 3rd. As you can see, they also shared a video with a render of the upcoming GPU, to which we know is likely the RX 6700 or 6700 XT. As for what they plan to announce, I would expect them to announce both the RX 6700 XT and non-XT model, with the XT model likely being released first. Of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on that. Next up for today, if you've been in the market for a new build lately, or you've just been following this channel, you know that GPUs and AMD CPUs are in high demand. In fact, they've been selling out seconds after release and only come back in stock for seconds at a time. Now, while Ryzen 5000 looks to be catching up with demand, GPUs are only going up in price. And that brings me to today's story. In a new post by Tom's Hardware, some analysts are claiming that demand has been outpacing supply by around 30%. This has driven lead times for semiconductors to be over 14 weeks according to Susquehanna. What's worse is that this is really bad news for when things will catch up. Though before I get to that, remember that Nvidia's RTX 3060 is set for release tomorrow at 6 AM Pacific time. And the good news is that unlike other releases, Nvidia is hampering the mining performance on these cards by over 50%, so miners may not be as likely to fight hard for these cards. And I say may not because they're currently paying over double the MSRP of some cards, so 50% may not be a good enough deterrent. Also, gamers were already outstripping supply before crypto reached its new heights. Either way, I'll have affiliate links in the description for when that releases. It helps the channel out and doesn't cost you anything more. Anyway, back to the story. According to an analyst with JP Morgan, they expected to take between 3 and 4 quarters for supply to catch up to demand, and at least 1 to 2 quarters for distribution channels to get back to normal. And these are quarters, not months, so we could be looking at least a year before stock finally gets back to normal.
Oh, come on!
So yeah, I genuinely don't even know what to say. Once again, tomorrow could be one of your last chances besides the RX 6700 series, so make sure to be ready. Ultimately, I hope these analysts are wrong, but it's not looking good. Lastly for today, Intel looks to be taking advantage of the terrible market we're in if this news story is correct. In a recent report by WCCF Tech, they claim that Intel is planning to begin pre-orders of their Rocket Lake CPUs 2 weeks before reviews drop. According to this, Intel will make the full announcement for their 11th gen CPUs on March 16th. So far, the company has only officially released specs for the 11900K, though if you follow the channel, most have already been leaked. Anyway, the same day that they announce the full specs, Intel will begin accepting pre-orders. The problem is that the official review embargo won't be released until the processor's due on the 30th. That's obviously an issue because the CPUs will likely be sold out by then from pre-orders. According to WCCF Tech, Intel is delaying the review and sale date because of a microcode update, but why begin pre-orders then? Luckily, we have seen some reviews already, like the one I went over earlier in the video. Still, it's beyond frustrating as customers should be able to see reviews prior to pre-orders. Of course, don't forget that Intel's Alder Lake is set to come this year as well, so I'd personally hold out regardless. So while that does it for today, are you planning to buy one of Intel's new 11th gen CPUs, or are you just bummed about the GPUs? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you like talking all things hardware, check out the GamerMeld Discord server. And as always, have a great day.